Hey guys, Buffing Game back today, bringing you a video for our weapon conversion series, and today is our first weapon conversion here for Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. So today we're going to be converting the AK-47 into the AK-104, or I should say an experimental prototype version of the 104, since the timelines don't quite match up. But in this game we can essentially make an AK-104 a very early prototype version of the weapon. So what we're going to do is jump into this. I'm going to show you how to convert the weapon to the variant of the experimental or the early version prototype for the AK-104, which is a short barrel rifle variant of the AK-103, which is also chambered at 7.62 by 39mm. I'll show you how to build it, and then we'll check out and see how it handles in-game here against bots. So let's go ahead now, and we'll back out and get right into it. So here we go. We'll back out to the gunsmith, and here you can see my AK-104 put here on the wall. You can see I named the class AK-X-104 for experimental, or we could even call it a prototype version of the 104. So here we have the AK-47 converted to the 104. Let's go ahead now. I'm using my gunfighter perk here so I can equip all 8 attachments. That'll unlock me all 8, but we'll build this thing from scratch. Let me go ahead first off, and we'll take off the camo, and we'll go from the base AK build here and see how that looks. So let's see, we'll remove that, and then we'll use the base camouflage without anything selected here. And what I'll do is I will go ahead and remove all of the attachments here. There we go. So here is our base AK-47 again, which is actually modeled after the AKM. Unfortunately, we can't rotate the weapons like we can in Modern Warfare, but it's interesting to note here that you can see we have a rib dust cover and a stamped receiver, versus in the AK-47 in Call of Duty Modern Warfare is an actual 1949-50 production model AK-47 with a milled receiver and a non-rib dust cover. So here we have an AKM labeled as an AK-47. We have the rib dust cover and a stamped receiver here. Again, the AKM is just a slightly more modernized variant of the AK-47, which was, I believe, produced in 1953, I want to say. It was very early 50s they redid it. So we'll take our base AKM here, and we'll go ahead and build this from scratch. So first off, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put an optic on here. I am going to use all 8 attachments just for the heck of it, but again, you don't need to use all these, and I'll show you which ones you can go ahead and get rid of if you want to be true to a more early version of the AK-104. So we'll go ahead to optic. We're going to go ahead and do a Cobra red dot sight here. So this is just a precision red dot sight. You can see here it offers a 1.75 magnification feature, which is actually really helpful. And this is a nice clean red dot. You get the nice dot there. Same as the Viper optic from Modern Warfare. So they're the same optic. They're both based off of the Russian Cobra dot, which is interesting here. In Cold War, we have the right name being the Cobra red dot sight. So this one here, you can see the stats behind this. Firepower, speed, accuracy is going to go up a little bit. And then we have our ammunition there. So go ahead and select that. Now let's go ahead and look at the muzzle. So for this one, we're going to go ahead and put on a PBS4 suppressor, or the GRU suppressor. So you can see here the pros being the muzzle flash concealment, as well as the vertical recoil control. So muzzle flash is going to go down 100%, obviously, because we have a suppressor on here. Vertical recoil control is going to go down or improve by 7%. The cons are going to be the effective damage range is going to be down by 25%, and the bullet velocity you're going to be reducing by 30% here. If we look at the more details, you can see more details here with this one, which is a nice feature here in Black Ops Cold War. Vertical recoil control is a total of 376.65J, which I'm not quite sure what measurement that is standing for. But you can see that we're getting a +7 there. 100% muzzle concealment. You can see it's highlighted with our main ones there. 25% that are highlighted in the description for the suppressor. So you can see all the bonuses and everything there that you're getting with the attachment, as well as overall stats of the weapon so far. So we'll go ahead and select that GRU suppressor, which again is based on the Russian PBS4. Now for the barrel key attachment here, we're going to want the 15.5-inch ultra light barrel. So you can see here, this is going to assist with our strafe speed by 5%, but more importantly, this is the shortest barrel available for the AK-47 or the AKM here in game. Now, in real life, the 104, when it was produced in 2001, the barrel length is 12.4 inches. However, this is the closest we're going to get to that, is that 15.5-inch barrel. And you can see here, if we go ahead and select that, now what it does is kind of give us a 9-degree gas block there, similar to the 100 series and even the 74 series of AK rifles. Get that 9-degree gas block, and again, this is the shortest variant that we have. Now, the civilian version of the AK-104 actually released with a 16-inch barrel, so you could go ahead and do the 16.5-inch Cavalier, or just stick with the 15.5-inch. So again, we're about 2-3 inches over what we want to be for the real 104, but this is as good as it's going to get here in Black Ops Cold War. But it is interesting, we do have these different shorter barrel options, being the 16.5 and the 15.5. of the barrels for the AK-47 here in Black Ops Cold War and not in Modern Warfare. So I thought that was kind of interesting. You can see here, though, 16.5 inch, you still have that 45-degree angle gas block versus the 90-degree gas block here with the 15.5 inch. That's why that's going to be a key attachment here. Now, next one for the body. Again, this, you don't need this one. This is just because we have all 8 attachments and we want to make it more up to spec with a modern AK-104. However, this is a prototype version, so you can go ahead and skip this. I'm just going to go ahead and put on the GRU 5mm laser. It's going to improve our hip-fire accuracy by 40%. Cons are going to be the ADS speed by 8. So go ahead and put that on there. Again, this is a short barrel rifle or a carbine, so it's going to be built for closer engagements, better mobility, and ergonomics. So we're going to build it like that. Now, underbarrel attachment, again, optional attachment here. We don't have any good polymer underbarrel attachments like we do in Modern Warfare. Obviously, this is based in the 80s, which is why this is a prototype. We're going to go with the Spetsnaz grip. It's going to assist with our vertical recoil control by 6 and our horizontal recoil control by 20. Now, there's obviously some other options here. Personal preference. This is really, I'm just picking it for the aesthetics. It's probably, I think, the better looking grip that goes with this weapon. The cons, as I said, shooting movement speed is going to go down by 26%. So we'll go ahead and select that. Now, the magazine for this one, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put on the 40-round magazine. We can do a 40-round speed mag here, so it's going to give us that speed release there so you can pull it out quicker. Again, the pros here are going to be the magazine ammo capacity going up by 10 rounds from the 30 rounds of the 7.62 by 39mm to 40 rounds. You're getting a 25% increase in reload quickness, 33% increase in max start and ammo because you're getting the 10 rounds per magazine, and a 33% increase in ammo capacity. Now, the cons here, the 20% overall ADS because we're adding that extra 10 rounds to the weapon, and 7.62 by 39 is a heavy round. So we'll go ahead and take that. Now, the handle here, again, this is personal preference. You don't need this at all. It's really up to you what you want to do here. You can go ahead and get rid of this one. You don't really need to be putting this on, but I'm going to go ahead and just put one we'll do here for the GRU elastic wrap. It's going to assist with 30% with the ADS speed, or excuse me, aim down sight time. So technically ADS speed, 90% with flinch resistance, and it's going to add X to the aim while going prone. So it doesn't really give us a stat there, and if we increase that, we don't really get the stat either. So go ahead and decrease that. Cons are going to be 10% shooting movement speed, and 15% sprint to fire speed are going to be the cons that we're going to be taking away there. But we'll go ahead and select that. Again, that's personal preference. And the stock, we're going to want to leave the base stock. So this is where you don't really need the gunfighter perk. You can go ahead and you can get away with 5 attachments on this weapon. We see here the AK-104 is typically polymer. It's all polymer attachments. And the standard receiver, which we have, the AK-104 does not have a ribbed dust cover either. So that's where we're kind of stuck with this one. But you can notice we don't have polymer attachments. It's obviously 17 years before the 100 series was produced. So if we go ahead and put on an ambush, any of these camouflage, the ambushes I think is a nice Spetsnaz fall or jungle type camouflage there. If we go ahead and put that on, we can almost give the appearance of having a polymer AK build here with the 104 prototype. So it almost looks like, if I go ahead and back out a little bit, it looks like the butt stock, and then as well as the handguard and everything is polymer there. For the most part, it looks like it, given the appearance, because we've covered it with a camo. And it actually is a nice, clean, good-looking matted camo there. And overall, I think it looks pretty good. I think it's one of the better AK builds that I prefer to use here in game. I use this a lot in the beta. I think it's a lot of fun to run. Again, you can see there, we have the mount for the Cobra optic there, which is also nice to see. So go ahead now and jump into the gameplay for this weapon, and you can see here in game we're just playing in Moscow fittingly here against bots. Because it's an AK-104, a prototype variant of the AK-104, we want to be here in a Russian map, so fitting that we go with Moscow. Now again, the real life stats here for the weapon for the AK-104, you'll see the differences here, is the AK-104 in real life was produced, or the 100 series in general was produced in 2001. So how long they were in development before that, I believe it was design period was 1994. So here this game multiplayer especially takes place in 1983-84 timeline there. So we're about 10 years ahead of when the weapon was actually produced. Now, one thing Treyarch said is that there is going to be kind of prototype or early variants in the gunsmith that you'll be able to make. So this, in my mind, constitutes as one of those. This is going to be an AK-104 build, a prototype variant that just 10 years ahead of schedule for the most part of the design phase. So again, real life stats here for the AK-104. It's been in service since 2001 through present. The real life design was 1994. It is a Mikhail Kalashnikov rifle designed in Izhmash. It was used in the Syrian Civil War. Again, the designer was Mikhail Kalashnikov. I believe one of his last AKs was the 100 series. The manufacturer is Kalashnikov Concern. The variants of the 104 are the 102 and the 105. So the 105, also a short barrel variant of 545 by 39, and the 102 is 556 by 45. So those are the different calibers for the short barrel variants of the carbine variants. Now the 104 is the short barrel of the carbine variant of the AK-103, which is also chambered at 7.62 by 39 millimeters. So the 100 series, if you're not familiar, the 100 series really was they had different platforms. So they had the AK-101, which was a standard length AK build in 5.56 by 45. They had the 102, which was also a 12.5-inch barrel, short barreled carbine, just like the 104 here, also chambered in 5.56 by 45. Then we had the 103, which is a standard length AK build in 7.62 by 39. The 104, which we're covering here, which again is a carbine variant, 12.4-inch barrel, 7.62 by 39. And then we had the 105 and the 10. I actually believe the 105 was just the last one there. So the 105 was 5.45 by 39. I don't believe there was a standard length for the 5.45 by 39 for the 100 series. Perhaps, I don't think there was a 106. Correct me if I'm wrong. But then also we had the 200 series, and then obviously into the AK-15s, AK-12s, etc. So it went 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, and then we skipped the 106 because they was still being used. There was no need for that because we had the AK-74 and the AK-74Ms at the time. And then we went into 107, 108, and 109, which used that counterbalance recoil system, which would be nice to see whether in Modern Warfare or even in any Call of Duty game. It would be really nice to see. They do have a 107 in Call of Duty Mobile. But back to the 104 again. The other variants of this are the 102 and the 105, which is their counterpart carbine variant or carbine barrel length variants in 12.5 or 12.4-inch barrels. The mass of the AK-104 is going to be 30 kilograms or 6.6 pounds when empty. And then when you add that 30-round magazine of the 7.62 by 39, it's going to bump it up to 7.1 pounds with an empty magazine. So when you do put the magazine in there with full ammo, you're going to go up probably about 2 pounds, I would say, with the 30 rounds of the 7.62 by 39, if not slightly more. The length overall is going to be 824 millimeters or 32.4 inches. That's with the stock extended. So the AK-104 in real life, being that it was produced in 2001, did have the option. It did have a side folding stock, which was, I believe, standard with all 100 series rifles, and maybe even the AK-74. The AK-74Ms, I believe, instituted side folding stocks as well, depending on, they definitely were able to take them. So the cartridge is 7.62 by 39 millimeter, as I said. The action is a gas-actuated rotating bolt. Rate of fire in real life is 600 rounds per minute. The muzzle velocity is 670 meters per second, or 2,200 feet per second. The effective firing range is going to be 500 meters, or 550 yards. And then the feed system is going to be that 30-round detachable magazine. Obviously, I think they did have 40-round magazines back then as well in the 90s. Well, obviously in the 90s and early 2000s. But here, since we're in the 80s, we're using that 40-round fast mag. But they were obviously compatible with even up to 50 or quad stack 60-round casket mags for the 100 series. And then sights, just iron sights, and they did have the dovetail mount on the 100 series. So here in game, you may have noticed the actual AKM that we have here in game does not really have the trunnion on the side for the side mold for the dovetail mounts like we do see on some of the AKs in Modern Warfare. So that's one thing I thought was a little odd that they didn't have the side mounts, but again, it is modeled after an AKM, so that would make sense. Most of them, I believe, didn't have the dovetail mounts until later in production period with the AKMs, and I believe it was first really introduced in the AK-74 series for the most part. They had the dovetail mounts. But let me know down below what you guys think of this. You'll see here in game, I think it handles really well. The recoil for this, really, you don't really need to manage any of the recoil. The recoil, compared to Modern Warfare, is really a night and day difference. You're going to kick up and to the left slightly, and then you're going to be back on target almost immediately. So you'll see with the recoil patterns there, you would have seen, I didn't control it the first burst, and it really just, you really are hitting all center mass shots at the range that you want to be engaging with this. And then again, I try to control it. You can see it's definitely a little bit tighter when I showed this, but again, not really a weapon that you need to manage recoil unless you're going for extreme ranges. But since we're building a carbine variant here of the AK with the 104, you really don't want to be engaging at those longer ranges. This is your closer quarters AK rifle that's just meant for, I guess, CQC engagements for the most part, and utilizing that 7.62 by 39 millimeter round, as well as that larger caliber with the as well as the better ergonomics that comes with the carbine variant here of the AK. So let me know down below what you guys think of this build. Let me know what you think of the camouflage and how this looks for a prototype variant of the AK-104. Also, let me know what you guys think of the conversions here in Cold War so far. There's definitely a different style of conversions in Black Ops Cold War versus Modern Warfare. Obviously, you can't really create night and day brand new weapons out of the weapons that we have in the game. There's a few that we can, but for the most part, you're making different variants of a specific weapon, which I think is fine and suiting for Black Ops Cold War. They're kind of limited with the timeline here since this takes place, the multiplayer, in 83 and 84, so you're really limited with the weapons that you can do. So I think so far Treyarch definitely did a good job. We have some other new weapons that we're going to see coming here in Season 1. I believe we have the Graza. The Graza is going to be coming as well, which is going to be a nice weapon to see here when that comes in game. If you're not familiar with that one, I'll definitely be covering that when we get it. The Graza 14, I believe it's going to be, based on the picture they shared for Season 1. That's another 9x39mm rifle, similar to the AS Val that we just got in Modern Warfare. Speaking of the AS Val and the VSS, we can kind of make that here in Black Ops Cold War. But like I said, a lot of the weapons that we can make are just different variants because we're kind of limited with the time period here. So I tried this one. Let me know what you guys think of this one. I tried to make this just one weapon focused. I was going to do the all AK builds video and try to split these up into all builds, all MP5s, all AKs, all M16s, XM4s, etc. But I figured I'd focus at least here on the 104 specifically. But let me know what you guys think. What kind of format do you want to see going forward for the Black Ops Cold War weapon conversions? I'll leave you guys with the gameplay. Hope you enjoy the weapon. Again, this is the AK-104 or the prototype variant of the AK-104. Until next time, this is Buckner Gaming. Out.